So hi, my name is Sebastian Vogelsang. I'm a developer and consultant from Berlin. I'm also the founder of Flashes.blu. And I, as a second hat that I wear, am also working on Eurosky Social.
So, hi, Sebastian.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Hi. So, for those who don't know you, can you say a few words about yourself and what you do?
My name is Sebastian Vogelsang. I'm from Berlin. I've been doing IT consulting and development for the last almost 20 years now. And at the beginning of the year, I founded Flashes.blu, which is sort of a photo viewing app for ATProto. And I've been doing this since the beginning of the year. Last year, I also built this ATProto client for Bluesky, which is more of a closer to what Bluesky is doing with their app. That was in 2023 and 24. So I've been around ATProto now for almost over 2 years now. So yeah, and the second hat that I'm wearing is with Eurosky Social, where we're trying now to build up ATProto infrastructure in Europe to open this market for people that want to try out ATProto apps but don't want their stuff hosted in the US.
Oh, okay. So can you explain more on this second role on the data thing?
So Eurosky Social was, the idea came when I wanted to create content for Flashes that wouldn't be moderated by Bluesky, because right now with Flashes I use the Bluesky lexicon. That's why I get the moderation for free from Bluesky. But this only works as long as you stick to a post type that can only be shown on Bluesky. So as long as those kind of align, a post on Bluesky shows up as a picture on Flashes. But if I wanted to introduce features like ephemeral content, Instagram would have these stories, right? So if I wanted to do that, I would have to go off lexicon. I would have to create my own lexicon, which also means I would have to moderate that. This is where I hit a wall because I don't have funding yet. So, and moderation is expensive. So I got together with two people, with Sharif and Robin, and we kind of brainstormed in it and thought, okay, so I could now buy moderation, or we could try to build something that would then tackle moderation for multiple parties, sort of like a commons infrastructure. And this is where Eurosky started to build. So we thought, okay, so let's try to give developers like myself infrastructure in Europe that is in line with the DSA, with GDPR, with all EU laws, And let's try to build something that works as an incubator for developers that say, hey, I want to build something like a YouTube client or something, but I don't have the money to do moderation. I maybe don't even have the money to do hosting for my users. So Eurosky would offer that. And so that is the goal. And right now we see with the way the political climate changes, it gets even more urgent to give people a place to go to if they don't feel safe in certain jurisdictions any longer. So yeah, this is right now it's like we're still have this moderation thing and the incubator that is all part of it, but providing AT-PDSs and relays has become even the importance has been rising. Yeah. This is Eurosky Social in 5 sentences.
Okay. So, moderation question, actually. How does Bluesky balances this freedom of speech versus moderation, especially considering that there are so many countries?
You would have to ask Bluesky. No, but what they, as far as I understand, I don't work for Bluesky, so I can only observe this from the outside, but the way they tackle it right now is, as far as I know, in the client. Like, let's say there is some content that is sensitive in Turkey, for example, because of local laws. They will their client will not let users see certain content that they were asked to not show in Turkey. They will not see that. Alternative clients that are out there may not follow that, and they will, like, users will still be able to see content with those apps. So it's kind of like they, as far as I know, they have labelers for different countries to obey by the local laws. And that's also how we're seeing this commons content moderation as a tool that will have moderation teams in every country that then can produce labels specific to that country and to the legislation in that country.
Yeah. I think now many people perceive like Bluesky as like a really niche tech insider platform. Do you see any ways for mass adoption, and how is it possible, if it's possible?
I do think so, because of, like, we're in politics again, but the way things go right now, I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable on traditional platforms any longer, because the platform model ultimately always tries to capture users in their walled gardens. So the model is always the same. The users get the stuff for free and they monetize through ads, and that ultimately leads to enshittification, because you're, like, the algorithm tries to trap you and trap your attention, and it hasn't ended well with any of these apps. So I think a lot of people realize that now. Plus, there's like a stark movement in Europe right now, at least that's how it feels to me, that people want to offboard these US big tech platforms. So there is like this renaissance of protocol-based solutions, I think, right now. And the people I talk to are really enthusiastic about having something that gives Europe digital sovereignty. Like, that is, those two words you hear all over the place right now in Europe. Digital sovereignty, like, we need our own stuff. And I think with ATProto, the way the protocol works, it basically only needs, I mean, it worked super well with Bluesky, but like for other ATProto apps, because the user base is shared amongst all the users, it basically only needs 1 or 2 apps to make it, like, to take it across the 100 million users, right? And all the other apps will benefit from that. And I think that's the appeal of ATProto, that there's this instant audience when you're on board, like on Flashes. Like, you log in and you post something and you immediately have an audience of 38 million users. You don't have that with other apps. That you always start from zero. Like, with 0 users, there's not this cold start problem. So I think there's a lot of potential that people now also see, and that may give it this advantage over former open web solutions.
Okay. Maybe you can share some advices for builders. So I mentioned someone wants to build maybe a client for Bluesky or something relevant to that. So what's your learnings from your path, like of building or being a builder around Bluesky and AT, like lessons learned for other builders?
Be part of the community, I think, is a big thing. Like, everyone is super appreciative. They all help each other. Even the Bluesky team is super approachable. They will help out. They're building the protocol while building the Bluesky. It's not a traditional platform. I'm trying to avoid that word, because it's a protocol or an app that lives in the protocol. But so that would be my advice, to just be super open, join the dev community, Discord and just build cool stuff. There's a lot of appreciation, even building small tools that solve the single isolated problem. I've seen people that have never contributed to anything being picked up by the community saying, hey, this is awesome, this person built this, and you're immediately like uplifted from like this whole dev community. So that would be my advice. Get in there and just have fun.
Well, it's nice. It's nice when there is like such a supportive community. And okay, I'm going to like more user perspective, like any hints, tricks, life hacks, like how can you go big on Bluesky? How can you get your audience and like large numbers of followers?
I think the main trick is to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is like, everybody says that, I guess, with like every platform, but especially with Bluesky, you see that the way, like you can see it from the referrals that get to other platforms, I think. I think Bluesky has more referral traffic to The Guardian than X, although Bluesky only has like 7% of the user base of X, and they still create more referrals because the users are more organic. Like the engagement is more organic. Also, I think a majority of the scientists now publish their papers on Bluesky, whereas they used to post them on X, but they all say we get way more and better engagement on Bluesky because there's a genuine user base. So it actually fits with like that narrative, be authentic with this. It's actually true and it works.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't know about the academia world, that it's there and it's present. It's nice to know. And for someone who had never used Bluesky and maybe heard but not really aware, how would you describe it and its difference from Twitter or other platforms? And like, what is the incentive for people in the end of the day to use it?
Well, I mean, you have to know if you're still feeling comfortable on Twitter or on X now. Like I stopped feeling comfortable 2 years ago, so that's why I moved over to Bluesky. What I liked about Bluesky that it's like a super diverse community. The whole user base is super diverse, and I personally find the discussion culture to be way better than, it reminds me of Twitter in 2009, 2008, when I first joined Twitter. Like back then there was like, it was a different culture, I guess. It was more about like having fun with each other and having decent discussions, and this is like X is poison now. So to me, those are all good reasons to join Bluesky instead of any of the other big tech platforms that are ultimately only showing you content that drives their growth and their income, right? And with Bluesky, you have the option of, I don't know, 50,000 feeds. 50,000 feeds already that you can choose from. So you are in charge of your timeline, like the way what you want your timeline to be. So I think that's a big plus when it comes to Bluesky, or yeah.
Okay, let's talk a bit about privacy. So we care about it, and like just your take on privacy in general and maybe in the context of Bluesky as well.
Oh yeah. So I'm all for privacy.
Happy to hear that.
I use Signal. I try to get like the school groups over to Signal with more or less success. But yeah, no, definitely. Like especially we're back to politics. Like in times like these, privacy is super important. Bluesky is a public network, like a public social network, and I see a lot of people asking for private data on like the protocol, private data on Bluesky. And whenever someone argues about that with me, I must say to me, it's okay the way it is, because I choose, like, if I want to keep stuff private, I will not post it on any social media network. I would rather share it in a Signal group or something. And I think we've gotten, since all these platforms try to copy off each other, this platform introduced direct messages, so this platform also has direct messages. Although there are dedicated apps that do direct messaging way better than X or any of the other guys. So we've gotten used to these platforms like X or Facebook, or like they do everything, and maybe they shouldn't. Maybe there is a good reason. There is Signal for private conversations, for encrypted conversations, for only sharing with the people you want to share, and not have your data show up in some data leak because X or whatever platform didn't take care of privacy.
Yeah, agree. And if you talk about the Internet of Future, so the Internet of Future, how we imagine that, right? Like private, secure, uncensored, like how would it look like, and how would the life look like?
There's this meme with this futuristic city.
Yes.
So no, to be honest, like I'm fearful when it comes to the future of the internet, because with the recent AI movement and like OpenAI trying to acquire Chrome, it only clicked for me like afterwards that we're like right now, I read a study where like 60 or 70% of the 12 to 14-year-olds use ChatGPT as a search a search engine, and they don't check these things that it produces for facts, right? So what happens to outgoing links? They just get swallowed up in the produced content. So once one of these companies acquires a browser, which is the ultimate tool to browse the web and to go to places in the open web, and they, instead of search results, just give you produced content from a large language model that maybe doesn't even contain any outgoing links, that would be the death of the open web as we know it. So yeah, I have sort of a fear for the open web. So the ideal web would be that we go back to respecting outgoing links, not suppressing outgoing links, and have content available not through aggregation and spitting it out, but through actual pointing people to places.
Okay, your hot take on AI. And is there a way to use it consciously?
I think so. If you use it as an interface, I think, and not as a search engine. And people, I think it's kind of shitty to make this text so small that they put below it. You need to check this for or verify the facts that this thing produces. It needs to be way bigger, because people now use it like a search engine, and it still produces a lot of stuff that is not true, and still a lot of hallucinations. Plus these models are biased in the worst ways, and the big tech companies try to put guardrails on this, but they're still biased towards racism, like towards sexism. All that is inherent because of the data that they got trained on. It's our history. So I would rather have AI. I use AI myself, but I would rather have it as something like we used speech processing before, which was kind of bad always. With this, it actually works. So I would rather have it steer the functionality and do searches itself, and then kind of use those searches presented to you, and not like use large language models to try to solve every problem. Like all the AI companies, 90% of the AI companies that pop up right now, they just built this wrapper around OpenAI, and that can't be it. I mean, this is like a bubble to bust.
Yeah, that's not an easy situation. Okay, let's talk about Cypherpunk. So what do you feel about cypherpunk now, and like the current vision or feeling of like what does it mean to be a cypherpunk today?
This is my first Cypherpunk event, so I can only speak for what it felt like yesterday and what it feels today. Like today feels super awesome. Yesterday I was like astonished to see so much talent like concentrated in one place, and I was like, oh wow, this guy's here. Oh wow, this. So I've heard of some of the people attending, but never met them. So I love the whole ethos of providing democratic access to data, and yeah, it resonates with me.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, I think we don't perceive cypherpunk as just like this small group of people that here. It's more just
it's like a whole community, right? And
well, I mean, it's just a word. First of all, it's just, I don't know, it's like when you're more it's about certain values. That's how I feel it, at least. Like, let's say more into human rights activism, less into this casino of like meme coins. I think that's a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like not about being like, I don't know, in this small niche, but it's like more broad. In my
I consider myself to be more on the rights side, and you know, internet rights, everything like as in that direction. Yeah.
And what's your experience with that? Like,
well, we're trying the thing with Eurosky, right? To give people access and to do this as a non-profit. So yeah, I mean, ideally, this is how the web should be. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with corporations that want to mint you for your data and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be my experience with that.
And what's your lesson learned from being from building a non-profit? So
we don't have a non-profit yet, but it's coming at some point. So but the lesson is hard, like funding everything. So we're kind of hopefully lucky that there's like this big movement with digital sovereignty. So maybe we can like take advantage of that with a nonprofit, but who knows? But yeah, of course, like right now, a lot of the money goes into AI and funding, and yeah, social networks are not the biggest win right now in infrastructure for open web protocols.
Okay. Yeah, I think we need to round up this. Okay, the last thing, maybe how would you describe a blue sky if it was an animal?
It was an animal? Oh, I could be an asshole and say an elephant, but I won't. No, I don't know. Maybe it would be like a butterfly. Probably makes sense of a blue, right? Like a blue butterfly, maybe.
Yeah, why not? It makes sense. Okay, thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Ciao.